Okay, let's start lateral and total surface area of prisms and cylinders. Um, Hope you watched the previous video about the equations and you have either printed those off or written them down on a separate sheet of paper or note card. So here we go. We have a rectangular prism. We have three of those on this page. And the thing about rectangular prisms is that the base really kind of doesn't matter what you call the base, because any way you flip a rectangular prism, it is always sitting on a rectangular base. Okay. So what I just usually do is stick with whatever the base slash bottom is. Now, on the triangular prism, the base is not the bottom, the base is the triangles. The base doesn't have to be the bottom. Okay. It just depends on what it's sitting on. The base in the case of number three are these two triangles because you have two bases. The base of a prism is always parallel to the other base. And if you see number three, there's no parallel rectangles. The things that are parallel are these two triangles. So that makes the triangles the base, or base is. So how do we do this? Well, best thing to do is always write out the formula. And I always start with total surface area, because then all I have to do is remove the bases, because lateral surface area is just around the sides. So here we go. Write your equation. Next thing you really need to do is write down what your three variables are equal to numerically. The area of the base, that's what capital B stands for, is the area of the base. So I need to find the area of this rectangle. That's 36. That's pretty easy. I have two of those. And then to find the rest of it, P times H, which is lateral area, plus the two bases, is P perimeter is the perimeter of whatever base you just found the area of. So the perimeter of the base is 26. And the height is always the line that connects the two bases. So see my maroon shaded bases? Those are connected by the height of 5. Okay, so then I just pick up my calculator, and I do 2 times big B plus P times H. It really is that simple. 202. We're done. The total surface area of this prism is 202, and that would be in square inches. All right, lateral surface area. Well, subtract 72. Why? Because 2, whatever, go away. Because 2 times 36 plus 26 times 5 times 5, this is 72. Well, 26 times 5 is 130. So this 72 represents the area of the two bases. This 130 represents the lateral surface area, so I really don't have to calculate that out. 130 square inches. Not bad. Okay, let's look at the next rectangular prism. The base is 3 by 22. So once again, 2 big B plus P times H. That is, big B is equal to 3 times 22, which is 66. The perimeter of the base is 22 plus 3, which is 25. And I've got two of those, so that's 50. And then the height of the prism is the line that attaches the two bases. So the height is 3. I calculate out 2 times 66 plus 50 times 3. The 50 times 3 represents the lateral. 2 times 66 is the adding of the two bases for total surface area. So since 2 times 66 is 132 plus 150, I actually have two answers in one. The 150 is lateral surface area, 150 centimeters squared, and the total surface area is the sum of the two bases plus the lateral surface area, which is going to be 282. It's that simple. Okay. Now, moving on to the triangular base prism. This is when it gets a little weird. I'm going to erase what I had on there. So what's the base? The base is the triangle. So I need the area of that triangle. Now the area of a triangle is base. Let's write down our equations again. Equation is 2. So 2 big B plus P times H. All right, well, what's the area of the base? Well, that means that I need to find the area of this triangle here, because those two are the same. These are your bases, because bases are parallel to each other. Okay, so if you need to take it out of 3 dimensions, draw a little triangle off to the side and label it. Well, I've got 4, 6, 5. And this is 6, but that doesn't really matter. How do I find the area of a triangle? Because that's what big B is. Big B is the area of the triangle, and the area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height. Now, this height of 4 is not the height of my prism. That's the height of my base. Okay, so big B is equal to 4 times 6 divided by 2. That's the area of a triangle. So what's that? 12. So big B equals 12. The perimeter of that triangle is 5 plus 6 plus 6. So that's 17. And now when height is asked, and if it was me, I would personally call that capital H, just to kind of differentiate. The height of the prism is the line that attaches the two triangles in this case. So the height of my prism is 5. The height of my two-dimensional triangle was 4, but the height of my prism is 5. Now it's time to do the calculations. Again, this height of 4 is just for the base of the triangle. The height of the prism is 5. So 2 times 12 plus 5 times 17. Now, of course, I'm okay with you using calculators on this. I'm just going to not switch back and forth to my calculator screen because it kind of messes everything up. 5 times 17, I believe, is 85. So once again, we have two answers in one. Your sum is the total, 109 total surface area, and that's in meters squared. The lateral is just this number. So the lateral surface area is 85 meters squared. Okay, cylinders. Cylinders are super easy. Now, if you remember from the explanation of the equations, I don't need to deal with big B. My equation for a cylinder, because the bases have to be circles, is 2. Oh, I need to move all this. Oops. Well, I'm just going to erase all that. Now I'll just draw a line. Kind of went too far. Okay, so the equation for the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared, that's 2 circles, plus 2 pi r h. I really only have 2 variables for a cylinder. I have r and I have h, nothing else. My radius is 10. They give me the diameter of 20. So my radius is 10 and the height of my cylinder is 40. Now these numbers are going to get bigger. So we have 2 options. We can either calculate out pi or leave it in terms of pi. I prefer to leave it in terms of pi because then I can do the calculations in my head. So what does that look like? That looks like 2 pi 10 squared plus 2 pi times 10 times 40. So let's crunch those pi numbers. 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. Yep. All right, so 10 squared is 100 times 2 is 200 pi plus, it's just 2 times 10 times 40. So what's that, 800 pi? All right, so again, I have 2 answers in one right there. My total surface area of that cylinder is 1,000 pi. The lateral surface area is 800 pi. My pen's being weird. Is 800 pi. Now, if you want to multiply that by 3.14, you're welcome to multiply it by 3.14. I'm going to leave things in terms of pi as often as I can, and since these numbers are pretty easy to deal with, that's how I'm going to leave them. Okay. I think we've done enough lateral and surface area. I think those 2 rectangle equations are good enough for now. Here's a cylinder equation. Ooh, that has a decimal 1.4. So I will probably use my calculator on number 6. So again, a cylinder, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r. I don't like that, man. It's too thick. So r is equal to 1.4. H is equal to 10. So that means I need to calculate 2 times pi times 1.4 squared plus 2 times pi times 1.4 times 10. I'm going to pick up my calculator. I'm just calculating the numbers. I am not calculating pi. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 1.4 squared in my calculator, and that gets me 3.92 pi. Two times 1.4 times 10, that I can manage. That is equal to 10 times 1.4 is 14 times 2 is 28 pi. Same thing, 2 answers in one. This is lateral surface area. And adding those 2 things together is 31.92 pi. And that would be in square meters. Okay, the last one. The last question on here is a right triangular based prism. So back to the prism equation. Prism is 2 big B plus P times H. We're going to run into a little problem. So what's the area of my triangle? Well, the area of a triangle, I need to find the area of this triangle. Well, like I said earlier, I need to find the area and perimeter of this triangle, and the problem is